Am I the greatest or am I an ungrateful person? Play on greatest, ungrateful, without him even having to say it. She didn't leave any note, it just left him in shambles. Ain't really confrontational, but I crave chaos. Mayday, mayday, I'm drowning or we're under attack. But then he goes, melee, melee. Melee is a battle, an attack. And then you hear it again, steady, are you ready? I love that sample. In order for you to understand the bar, you have to hear how he says it. Every verse, also, it does like a piggyback off the previous. It says, am I designed to compete or am I just appalling? There's the play on Pete and Paul. And again, as I mentioned, when you go back to Ab-Soul's life, about him losing Lori Joe, surviving the fall, doing all this reconstruction on his body because of the survival, having to go through all that, losing his best friend, you see the silver linings in the clouds. It's time to talk about this lyrical genius, Ab-Soul, someone who definitely has been under my radar. And I've definitely paid a lot more attention to him, been way more tuned into after he was in the pop-out concert. Ab-Soul was someone that was featured in a lot of old Kendrick music, and he's known to be an amazing lyricist. And obviously, we know lyricism has been sort of fading or in the background in hip-hop, but people like Kendrick and so many others, and after the rap battle, we've definitely seen it become something in the forefront. And now we're really reading between the lines. And when Ab-Soul dropped this album, I was excited to see how he would run with this album and where it would go. To say it's lyrical is just an understatement, but the album itself is a dedication to one of his best friends, who was known as Doughburger, who passed away tragically in a home invasion. And it's something that, it's everyone knows, if you have a best friend and something like that happens to them, the stress that it puts on your life can be insane. And what's crazy is, I'll get later into the video, is Ab-Soul has been through so much that I think is not talked about. But in this song that I want to do today, which is called 9 Mile, it's the intro song to the album Soulburger. And it's a fire intro. It's poetic. It's almost like spoken word. It's rhyme play. Just such great nuances, double entendres that you will miss unless you got to hear it a few times to catch them. And my understanding is that Ab-Soul kind of wanted to dedicate this album to his friend. He just wanted to make something fun, something that a lot of people can listen to. But at the same time, I have to say that some of the rhyme schemes in here are so complex to me. Interestingly complex. So it seems like he kind of did both sides. He wanted to create this rhythmic, album, but at the same time, he couldn't take away the lyricism in it. So in this video, let's do a lyrical breakdown of the intro song on the Soulburger album called 9 Mile, which also has a little ode to Eminem's 8 Mile movie and that last rap battle scene where Eminem starts exposing himself as he's battling the opponent so that the other person can't say the things towards him. And then he ends up dismantling the opponent because the opponent has nothing left to say about Eminem. And that's why it's called 9 Mile as opposed to, 8 Mile. So in this, the intro has Joey Badass, who is introducing Ab-Soul, which I found pretty interesting. Joey Badass being also another lyrical modern MC. But now we get to the first verse by Ab-Soul. He says, I like to call myself the god of rap, and all of y'all should call me that. Him saying I like to call myself the god of rap is a throwback to one of his older songs, I believe in the 2022 album called Herbert, on a song called Gotta Rap, which is a wordplay on God of Rap. So in that song, he says, I like to call myself the God of Rap, but what I really got to do is I gotta rap, right? Like, I'm a God of Rap, but I also have to kind of prove myself. But here he says, I like to call myself the God of Rap. All of y'all should call me that. And in the rest of this song, he has a lot of word plays where you actually have to listen to how he says the word because it changes its meaning. Then he says, I hit the studio and talk like that. Leave that mother effer and I feel like a fraud. In all honesty, I believe the truth will set you free. Am I an inmate? I got secrets I'ma die with. I hit the studio and talk like that and feel like a fraud. A lot of rappers, right? Their lyrics are braggadocious. Like, people, they're talking about what they have. They're talking about money. They're talking about cars and all this kind of stuff. You brag a lot in hip hop. But after he leaves, he's saying, after I leave, after I speak on this and I spit all this braggadocious lyrics, I go back home and I'm like, am I a fraud? Because I don't live and just questioning, right? I think he's, again, being vulnerable, just questioning himself, like something that most MCs, modern today, most rappers do not do. It's something we see a lot in Kendrick's music. In all honesty, I believe the truth will set you free. And then you start hearing this steady, are you ready? Which is really interesting because as this song continues to go on, you start hearing the sample, however do you want me? Steady, are you ready? Which is a sample from a song called Back to Life by a British collaborative. And the group is called Soul to Soul, which is crazy. I mean, one, the song is phenomenal, but the name of the group that sings the song is also a throwback to Ab-Soul, his name. However do you want me? Hey, however, and it's a really known sample. So hearing this, it's just a fire song, and hearing it worked. I feel like it worked really well on behind his lyrics. And then as he says, I believe the truth will set you free, right? Freedom. Am I an inmate? I got secrets I'm gonna die with. So as we know, people who go to jail lose their freedom. So as he's speaking of freedom, he brings up an inmate. And I got secrets I'm gonna die with. Then he says, am I the greatest or an ingrate? Am I someone who's the best, or am I an ingrate, being someone who doesn't show appreciation towards anything? A wretched person, an ungrateful person. Am I the greatest, or am I an ungrateful person? Play on greatest, ungrateful, without him even having to say it. It's like the meaning behind the word ingrate, which is pretty beyond like amazing. Am I a victim or a villain with a moral compass? So am I someone who is people are treading on me? I'm someone that I'm losing their rights. I'm a victim. People are stepping on me. Or is it that I'm actually the villain? I'm the bad person. But at the same time, it's because I have a moral compass. I'm not sure what I'm doing, whether I'm doing the right or wrong. And I'm trying to kind of figure out like the balance of where should I do damage and where should I hold back? Did my dirt all by my lonely? No accomplice. Ab-Soul saying, I'm accountable for everything that I did. I did all my dirt by myself. No one helped me do that dirt. And you know, a lot of people, they always like to blame others, right? If they're doing something wrong, they want to blame something on someone so they just feel better. But here he's owning up to it. Then he says, so when this shit hits the fan, as we know, that's a phrase, when it hits the fan, when shit hits the fan. So he says, so when this shit hits the fan, but also saying, when this music reaches my fans, I'll be sipping Apothic Red, but I won't be whining. No boo-hoos, more like Bebe and CeCe, Church on the Move. There's a lot to this. So let's just go easy on this. Like this bar right here, really, I feel almost like maybe Eminem's the only one who could kind of put something like this together. Kendrick, of course. When shit hits the fan, I'll be sipping Apothic Red. Almost sounds like apocalypse, right? So when shit hits the fan, when we're at the end, we're at the apocalypse, Apothic Red, but I won't be whining. Apothic Red is a brand of wine. I won't be whining. So when it goes to the end, I'm not going to be complaining. I'm going to have to be accountable and stand tall on what I did. No boo-hoos. I can't regret. More like Bebe and CeCe, Church on the Move. Bebe and CeCe, actual name, their last name is Winans. Bebe and CeCe Winans, which is an old gospel group from the 90s who were part of the church and things like that. There was a gospel music. No boo-hoos, more like Bebe and CeCe Winans, but he doesn't say Winans. He says Church on the Move. That's insane wordplay, like leaning towards what the rhyme is supposed to be, but then flipping it into another sort of entendre that means something else. Church on the Move is also, so as Bebe and CeCe Winans were part of a church and end up being pastors, and I don't claim to know, the whole lot about the religion, but Church on the Move is another movement called Church on the Move. Right or wrong, my faith was written way before I started writing. Steady, are you ready? This ain't a verse, this is an excerpt from a seance. Right or wrong, whether this is good or bad, whether my faith, my belief is good, it was written before I started writing. A little religious play on maybe things that are known as the divine decree. In some religions, it believes that everything has already been written, right? Not to go deep into the religion, but here's the play on that. But now he's making the parallel between the divine decree by, let's say, God to his own writing, saying my spirit was already here before I started spitting. Basically, I'm soul, I'm Ab-Soul. I had a soul before I actually started writing these lyrics. They were already in me. This ain't a verse. This is an excerpt from a seance. Now, what's a seance? A meeting at which people attempt to make contact with the dead, especially through agency of some medium. Something tries to get you there. So we know that this is an ode to Soulburger, that it's almost like he wants to say, this ain't a verse. This is a way for me to connect through these lyrics to my partner who passed away, Soulburger, and to reach him with these words, to contact him. And I know he said at one point this was an ode and then he hoped that this album would make him happy. Ab-Soul has been through a lot. It's something that really goes underestimated. I think it's part of the fabric of who he is that people do need to acknowledge. One is that there was someone named Lori Joe who was featured on old Kendrick music off of Section 80. Even High Power, she did background the chorus vocals on High Power. Lori Joe was Ab-Soul's girlfriend, and she ended up, without going too detailed, eliminating herself from a radio tower. And then Ab-Soul spoke about this in a Charlemagne interview a couple of years ago, or was it last year, that she didn't leave any note, it just left them in shambles. And then Ab-Soul himself had ended up jumping off a building and survived, which is another insane thing. And because of his knee that was held together, he still was able to walk because they reconstructed, the thighs, the legs, and was eventually put back together. So he survived that fall, which is extraordinary. And he's still living till this day. And he admits it in this song. Ain't really confrontational, but I crave chaos. A lot of times, it's something interesting to say because a lot of people, they're kind of similar. I don't want to be confrontational, but we at the same time, we like drama, right? We don't want to go head to head and confront someone, but we enjoy as human beings sometimes. We watch UFC, we watch boxers fight, we record people fighting. We enjoy the drama. We like to watch people talk about drama. Ab-Soul hinting and talking about the real nuances of being human that people hide. Mayday, mayday, melee, melee. What a beautiful way to put this. Ain't really confrontational, but I crave chaos. Mayday, mayday, melee, melee. So when you confront someone like you don't want to confront, and the opposite of that is actually being chaotic, then he goes on to say these two phrases that are also opposing. Mayday, mayday is when you are in, it's a signal for distress. Someone says mayday, mayday, meaning I need help. I need help. I need someone to come save me. I'm drowning or we're under attack. Mayday, mayday. That signal that goes out. But then he goes melee, melee. Melee is a battle, an attack. What an interesting way to oppose these things, similarly to the two things he opposed in the previous verse. And then you hear it again. Steady, are you ready? I love that sample behind this song. Hey, way off the chain, like a jeweler's scale. People say that phrase, he's off the chain. I don't know if people say it today, but people say he's off the chain, right? He's crazy. He compares it to like a jeweler's scale. If you take a bunch of jewelry and you place it on the scale, it won't even fit on the jeweler's scale because it's just dripping all around. F all this gold on me. No, it ain't hard to tell, like Sonic's little homie. These bars, in order for you to understand the bar, you have to hear to how he says it. I love the way every verse kind of also, it does like a piggyback off the previous. Way off the chain, like a jeweler's scale. F all this gold on me. Forget all this gold that I have on me. It doesn't matter. It ain't hard to tell. He says tell like tail. Sonic the Hedgehog has the sidekick Miles Prower, who's better known by the nickname Tails. He's a two-tailed fox who's Sonic's best friend and sidekick. So here it's about how he says it. It ain't hard to tell, like Sonic's little homie boy. It's interesting, again, it's a Nas reference. Nas had a song called It Ain't Hard to Tell. I think it was off of his Nas Illmatic album, where it starts off, it ain't hard to tell. I excel, then prevail. Again, weaving in all these layers. Got my soul glowing despite the darkness I harness. You think these silver linings were straps that keep me from falling. And again, as I mentioned, when you go back to Ab-Soul's life, about him losing Lori Joe, surviving the fall, doing all this reconstruction on his body because of the survival, having to go through all that, losing his best friend, you see the silver linings in the clouds. And I had a long time, I didn't know what the silver linings was. I used to be like, guys, what's a silver lining? Just to play on, when you see the clouds, there's some light that shines through the darkness of the clouds. Sometimes, interesting, that's called silver linings because the lining usually is a bright, but they call it the silver lining, meaning the lining around the dark clouds. But he's saying, you think these silver linings were straps that keep me from falling, that holding me up. When you see the little goodness through the darkness, this is what's holding me up. Just like he says, again, to play off the previous verse, got my soul glowing despite the darkness. I harness the glow in the darkness, the silver linings in the clouds, in the dark clouds, like straps that keep me from falling. Rhyming like I'm flying with angel wings. I just be crawling. At this point, Ab-Soul is just, this is just pure poetry. I just love the piggyback off the previous lyrics. Like he's flowing everything through a clear thematic string. Talking about the clouds, then jumps into a reference to an angel. Rhyming like I'm flying with an angel wings. I just be crawling. I'm not flying. I'm just crawling. It's the humbleness. It's that Kendrick You song, you know, that ode where it's the honesty to yourself. You're like, I'm not really who I say I am. I have flaws. People admire me, but I have all these ugly flaws. Now I don't know if I can accept myself. Steady, are you ready? And again, beautiful play from throwback to that sample where the word steady, are you ready? He's about to do something, which the second verse will do. Hold on, steady, are you ready? I'm about to go off. Then he says, Jesus Christ, am I designed to compete or am I just appalling? This line had me, what? Because I'm no theologian. Did I say that word right? Am I designed to compete or am I just appalling? So there's two strings, there's two meanings. Almost like you're speaking to Jesus, if that's his God, speaking to him, Jesus, am I designed to compete? Am I designed to be here? Am I designed to do this? Or am I just appalling? Or am I just ugly? Am I just someone who's gross? I don't deserve this. People should be repelled by me and repulsed by me. I don't know. I'm asking you, God, am I designed to compete or am I just appalling? And at the same time, there's the play on Pete and Paul, which again, I know nothing. I'm not going to get into like the historic, but the basic of it, the play on, he says, am I designed to compete or am I just appalling? So the name Pete in compete and the name Paul in appalling, Pete and Paul were in the Bible who had a disagreement about something related to how the Gentiles should be treated in the community and things like that. Maybe y'all could do your research. I'm not trying to get into religious text here, but that's a crazy play. Just like the tale where he says, it ain't hard to tell. These days, I'd rather work out my flaws than flex on y'all. As we know, most rappers today flex. They flex their money, the women that they may have, or vice versa, ladies flaunting whatever. Cash, cars, big house. But I'd rather work on my flaws than flex on y'all. I'd rather work on myself than sit here and try to flex on you, right? And, I have a hard time with a lot of lyric stuff today. I do these lyrical breakdowns. And one thing that bugs me is that it's almost difficult because we're not going to break down. I'm not going to just break down random braggadocious lines that don't mean much. A lot of rap these days, they need to work on their storytelling skills, like Kendrick, like many artists, Ab-Soul here, where there's a story, there's a meaning that the wordplay is interesting. Not just, I have a car, I'm rich, I got money. That's not enough. A little something's better than a whole lot of nothing at all. A lot of times we don't do things because we feel it's so difficult to do. We're like, if I go in, I gotta go all in. Sometimes with these YouTube videos, it's a struggle for a lot of YouTubers. Like, if I don't make a banger, then there's no point to do a video. But you have to work, you have to start, right? You have to do something. If you don't know if your song is gonna be a banger, you don't know if something you write is gonna resonate with people. But it says here, a little something is better than a whole lot of nothing. A little something good is better than a bunch of nonsense. Oh, well, hope you read between the lines. Like when we be spelling wrong. He doesn't say, I hope you read between the lines. He said, I hope you read between the lines, like when we be spelling wrong. I hope you can pay attention to the meaning behind things. I hope when something's in front of you, you can dive deep. I hope you can go beyond what's superficial that we see right on social media. Just like, and the simile here is, like when we be spelling wrong, and it almost sounds like spelling bee. Like when we be spelling wrong, spelling bee, another interesting kind of play that's in there that you could just hear it without him saying it. But then I wonder, what does he mean by when we be spelling wrong? What does it have to do with read between the lines? Because where are the lines? And what it seems that he says the word, I hope you not read red, which so sounds like he's trying to do a play on red, the color red. Like when your teacher starts, Xing out all the stuff on your homework, and you can't even see what you wrote no more. You mess up something, she starts just scribbling stuff out. He or she, of course, starts scribbling, starts writing over it. You're like, So it's almost like he's saying all those red marks, I hope you can read between the lines, kind of just like how you got to read through those marks and you can't even see the word anymore that messed up because your teacher got all these scribbly scraps all over it. Haha, spells. See what I'm saying? When we be spelling wrong. That was a crazy play that we almost just missed. What's a spell? Something placed on someone. It's something that has magical powers, a spoken word or phrase that is believed to have magical powers. So here he is referencing his lyrics and the world. Like when we be spelling wrong. Like when we be, I hope you read between the lines, when us humans be messing up. When we be casting a spell, this magical spell on people, but it's wrong. This this work. I don't think someone of the last decade is doing. I'm no offense. I love all my favorites. Y'all know who my favorites are, but this is some deep stuff. You go, Absol. What's going on? Ayo, Arnie, can I keep going? He's talking to Armin. I'm down. Take a look around. Then it starts to pick up the pace of that song. Back to life. Y'all gotta check that song out. However do you want me? And the beat, however do you need me? Mic check, 1, 2, mic check. Now he starts upping this up. Then he starts this lyrical tirade, sort of a parallel play on the Eminem 8 Mile battle rap where Eminem says, I am white, I am an effing bum, I do live in a trailer with my mom. A boy features in Uncle Tom. And Wink did F my girl. I'm still standing here screaming F the free world. Then he keeps going on, but I know something about you. You went to Cranbrook. That's a private school, right? So then he goes on to attack him. So here, Absol, great play. He says, I am broke. I am on effing drugs. Don't own shit. I'm paying rent for my baby's mom. He's revealing all the broken pieces of him that he wanted to hide. He's trying to let people know, I am broke. Y'all think I owe a lot of money, but I'm broke. I'm on effing own. I don't own nothing like people say, like rappers own. I'm paying rent just like everybody else for my baby's mom. I take a 762 for Top Dog. 762, I believe being like bullets or something like that. Just showing his loyalty to Top Dog. I did jump off a bridge on Del Amo Boulevard. And y'all could go check out that Charlemagne interview where he discusses that. I'm blessed, but question why God would have mercy on a junkie. I'm blessed, I survived, but why God, when you see me in this bad state that I don't think I deserve these blessings? I wonder, why did you have mercy on me, a junkie? Sometimes we question, why did God have mercy? Hoping we do have that mercy, because when we don't, we're just like, it's either we begging for the mercy or we question, God, why did you give me mercy, right? It's a human being, so it's just a wretched. We're just like, God, why don't you have mercy on my ass? And then when we do get it, we question, why did you have mercy on me? I was a piece of shit. Biggest lie ever told is that it ain't about the money. What Absol is saying is that maybe in a lot of his interviews and his previous songs, he tried to say, it ain't about the money. It's about lyricism. And now he's saying, that was a lie. It's also about the money. And we could admit that. Hopped out the rabbit hole, but now I'm really tripping. Rabbit also being the name of the character in Eminem 8 Mile is called B-Rabbit. Hopped out the rabbit hole, but now I'm really tripping. I'm still standing here screaming F the whole system. Play on when Eminem says, I'm still standing here saying F the free world, which was the name of the group at that time. Couldn't care any less if you judge me. You don't know what the F I did for this shit. And I don't know much, but I do know this. I got the game in a headlock. I'm like Draymond. Draymond Green being a basketball player who in one of the games, he actually, as one of the opposing team messed with one of his teammates, Draymond Green went and actually put him in the headlock in the game. So he says, I got the game in the headlock. I'm like Draymond, kind of like what Draymond did. Yo, you think you effing with the squad just a little bit? Dream on and then apply for your membership. I have to say this is a kind of a pretty obscure line to me. I feel like we need to ask Absol himself. There's a bunch of references we could say. Dream on, obviously just a phrase, like dream on, right? Like go ahead, think that's the case, but then apply for your membership. Then it's like apply for your membership, but then he's saying with the end, so it's kind of confusing. I don't know, a few things. I can't claim to know exactly what he means here, but like I know for some of the references, Dream On is that line, meaning Dream On. There's a documentary called Dream On, which was about female Olympic basketball players. There was also a Dream membership for a K-pop artist where you had to actually have a Dream membership in order to get the concert tickets. So that could be like Dream On and then apply for your membership. There was also a song by Aerosmith called Dream On. I'm not a super rock fan, but y'all could go check that out. But that was a very popular Aerosmith song called Dream On. But I don't know if that's the reference, right? Because it applied for your membership. And then he goes, little bitch, shit ain't been the same without Armin being his best friend, whose nickname is Doughburger. Shit we was on, you would have thought we was out of our mind. Couple of ticking time bombs, don't step on our mind. Mind, time bombs, mine, right? We all know the mind bombs, right? In war or when you walk, they place these mind bombs, or if you step in the wrong spot, boom, you could be gone. So he says, you would have thought we was out of our mind, just like ticking time bombs, like boom, we out the mind. Don't step on our mind. Don't step on what's ours with the play on the word mine and bomb. Like then there's just like, it ends with some insane wordplay. We lost Popeye, but Billy with mommy and Belly with Nas. That line is real difficult to really comprehend, to be honest. I gotta talk to Absol about this time, but it sounds like he's again referencing people he lost, but he's the reason why we had to do this. But we lost Popeye, but Billy with Mommy and Belly with Nas. So there's actually a group called Billy and Belly, which is kind of insane too. Billy's with Mommy and Belly with Nas. Nas did have a movie. He starred in a movie called Belly, and that movie was really interesting, where one character goes deep into crime, the other one kind of becomes righteous, you know, trying to do the right thing, but then this one is told to is expected to turn on the other, and that is the movie called Belly. So K never really left my side, so then another person that passed away before the album could come to life. So it's either a reference on people he knew or this particular person. Now we just a fusion like Trunks and Goten, and some people are saying that maybe he's misreferencing by saying Gohan, but really Trunks and Goten out of Dragon Ball Z were two characters who would infuse themselves to make one. So now we just a fusion like Trunks and Goten. That's kind of cool. So like I lost these people, but now I'm a fusion of these people. And a play on that Dragon Ball Z, Huey and Riley play on the Boondox characters. Huey and Riley combined knowledge and nines. Again, the good and the bad, where one character out of the Boondocks is more knowledgeable and always tries to, you know, speak on it, and the other being a little more like roughneck, you know, and that kind of thing. But so I'm both of these combined, knowledge and nines. Fabulous song. Y'all go check out the whole Soulburger album. Phenomenal lyricism by Ab Soul.